Time to cross over. Día de los Muertos. Featuring the return of Barrio Boychik.
I want to bring in my original homie of the Slant to further educate us on Dia de los Muertos. You know him, you love him. It's the return of the Barrio Boychik. Hey!
Hey, órale, ¿cómo estás? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Dia de los Muertos, believe it or not, is something that really is of such modern, contemporary relevance that I think it is important that we do understand the heritage and the history of it, contemporarily, and as well as the depth of the history into why we honor it and why it is such a part of the land.
So let's start from the beginning a little bit and talk about its American influence, because it seems now more than ever it is celebrated all over the States now.
There's a reason why we actually do Dia de los Muertos, and believe it or not, it's actually much more contemporary of a celebration these days. Believe it or not, the Mexican American, the Chicano celebration of Dia de los Muertos here in the United States, here in East Los Angeles, only goes back to 1973. And it's not a tradition that goes back to forever ancient times that we just kind of handed down, and now it's here in front of us. It is a tradition that, because of cultural assimilation, was really lost onto the Mexican American experience, and that had to be reborn in the Chicano era. And add to that at this time, as people start fighting in the Chicano civil rights movement, what happens is that they start killing, the sheriffs start killing the civil rights leaders. Most notoriously starting with the execution of the most famous Chicano journalist, Ruben Salazar of the Los Angeles Times, with a tear gas canister grenade. They shot it to his head, executing him. And shortly after, started killing students. This very interesting nun in the neighborhood who was really disappointed, the idea that the Mexican American Civil Rights Department was going, movement was going to fall apart. She wanted to help. And so what happens is that this Italian nun, my favorite nun in the neighborhood, a chain-smoking, cursing Franciscan nun who never wore a habit, Sister Karen Bocaleto, she, said, you know what, I'm going to look for a day. So she looked at her calendar, saw that only November 1st and 2nd were open. And when she saw those dates, All Saints Day, she remembered a tradition from Mexico. Indeed, that Catholics had stolen from the oldest religions of Mexico. And indeed, it was so old that it even predated the Aztecs and Mayans and all of them itself. It went back to the Olmec and the Toltec, to the ancient ancestors that are so old that we don't even remember necessarily who they were. And so she says, Dia de los Muertos, this is what we should do. And so she said, we're going to do this. And you know what all of them told her? To fuck off. It was the most morbid thing I'd ever heard of. That the Olmec, the Olmec and the Toltecs, these ancient ancestors that are so old that we don't even really know who they were, they passed down this beautiful idea throughout the land, that when we die, we need to understand that death comes in stages, that when people die, they're not just dead front to us. And so what we need to understand is that there's stages to death. Now, they taught us that there's 3 stages to death. The first level of death is quite obvious. It's when you breathe your last breath, when your eyes turn dull, your heart stops, your body turns cold. That's clinical death. You can't deny what it is what it is, but you aren't completely dead and gone to us in our culture. There is another level of death yet, when your body is taken from us and we're no longer able to commune with your body. You're either cremated or you're buried according to your tribal tradition, but we're no longer able to commune with your body. It's no longer dwelling with us. That's the second level of death. But you're not completely dead, gone, and forgotten to us. There is a third level of death yet, and this is more permanent. However, there's something unique about this level of death, and it is more permanent because of what it represents. This level of death, though, in the caveat about it, is this level of death only comes when we forget these people that have passed. When we forget their names, we no longer remember their names, we no longer remember who they were, we no longer remember what they stood for, we no longer remember, their values, their morals, their faith, we no longer remember their recipes, we no longer remember their sayings. As long as we continue to remember our ancestors, as long as we continue to speak of them, as long as we continue to hand down their stories, as long as we continue to hand down their recipes, their sayings, as long as we dedicate ourselves to their values and their sense of social justice, to complete the unfinished business that they have left behind for us, then our ancestors, they become reanimated.
LunaSol Mexican Vintage.
Janelle Gonzalez.
Hi, thank you for letting me come in with Barrio. That was like the most perfect way to talk about Dia de los Muertos. You really touched like every single part there. I mean, from the history, I just got really excited. So I'm really excited to meet you here. Thank you.
Oh!
Yeah,
well,
my store is located in Whittier, and I've known Polly for a couple of years now. But he's been a customer probably like within the last 2 years. And when he asked me to come on the show today, I was really excited because I get to feature the shop. And there's the entrance of the shop. So this is kind of what you see when you walk in, and it's a tiny shop. It's a 260 square foot of like products, merchandise from every single corner. So,
oh wow! So it is really small. Wow.
Yeah, I'm really tiny, but I like find a home for everything. And let's see if you can see. There's another little section. And let's see. So I have another little section here. I'm really fortunate to feature different artists.
Yeah.
From Whittier, also from Los Angeles, various artists from all over, from Arizona, from New Mexico, from as far as New Jersey, a Chicano artist from New Jersey, which is really kind of neat. And then let's see, here we go. Here's another focal point of the shop. So it's tiny, but it's filled. It's filled with lots of love. We were always looking for something new, but then something that's gonna like withstand the time. You know, I want to find pieces that are gonna be, you're gonna be able to keep passing them down from generation to generation. It's not. That's why I love vintage Mexican. One fine artist I consider, he's really wonderful. His name is Rudy Andrade. He has a lot of the artwork here, and I can show you a few pieces of here. So you can kind of see them right behind me. That one that was featured right behind me, that's his. Yeah. And then if I turn the camera, I can't. See if I turn the camera a little bit. There you go. I have a lot of pieces back there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
So it's a kind of cool. You can see some more back here. That's his Frida. That's also his, and some artwork. You know, building your altar at home is kind of really what our focus is this season. I think people, when they think of Dia de los Muertos, they think, okay, where am I going to go? You know, what are we going to do? And you can still get dressed up. You should celebrate your culture, and if it's kind of your adopted culture, then that's okay too. I feel so long as you take the time to really look deep into our culture and celebrate it right, then why not everyone really embrace our Mexican heritage? You know.
Let's go.